Have you ever had one of those breakthrough moments or learned an important life lesson and you go through it and you're like, this is incredible, this is gonna absolutely change my life, only to forget it a couple days later? Or you hear this piece of advice, an incredible, poignant piece of advice that you think, this could absolutely change my life, but again, you forget it a couple days later. Or maybe you hear the same piece of advice again and again and again, and it's the 10th or 11th or 12th time before you actually start taking it seriously and applying it into your life. And this was something that would drive me insane. Why can I not just remember these important life lessons that I was having? And in reality, the problem is actually worse than I used to think it was, because there's so many pieces of advice that you'll only ever be told one time. And if you don't have a way to remember and store that and actually implement it and ingrain it into who you are, then maybe you're missing out on huge amounts of personal growth. This video will hopefully provide the solution to this problem, where you hear a piece of advice or you learn an important life lesson or you have a breakthrough moment in your personal growth, and instead of forgetting it, you're able to constantly ingrain it into your mind so that it's at the top of your tongue. You're always remembering it, and you start applying it into your life immediately and reaping the benefits of those things. You do this so much that it ingrains itself into your identity. You become the version of yourself that this piece of advice lets you become, and you allow that to happen for the rest of your life, where you're actually upgrading yourself. In just a few seconds, I'm literally just going to give this system to you, and it's a system that's so easy that all you have to do is just take this pre-built system and apply it into your life, and immediately you stop forgetting these things and you start implementing these life-changing ideas, and your identity shifts until you become a better version of yourself. But just like if I was going to give you an aeroplane, you're not going to just get in it and try and fly it. I need to explain how to use it, and as well as why you should use it so that you're actually going to use it. So that's going to take me a few seconds of explanation. So just sit with me, put this in full screen, remove all distractions, let me get my watch time, please, and enjoy the video. So out of all of the videos I've uploaded on this channel, there's one video that you guys said was the most powerful videos out of all of them. And that's something called "This Graph Changed My Life." So I want to expand on that topic a little bit more, and that leads me perfectly into providing the solution to this problem and giving you the system that I've been talking about. So basically, this graph changed my life. The graph was the idea that when you do an action, you don't experience the benefits of that action immediately. For example, if you were to sit down and create a business plan, instantly you don't have any more money in your pocket. But over the long run, as you execute on that business plan, you improve it, you execute on it, you get better and better. And in the long run, you're making more money, you're helping more people, etc., etc. But the benefits come after a delayed result of the action. And whilst you don't experience the results instantly, you do have a very clear memory of doing that thing. If you were going and creating a business plan and you did it this morning, you're going to remember that you did that very, very clearly, but yet the results don't come. So you remember doing the thing, but you don't see any results yet. And this is why so many people quit meditating after a week, because they say, I don't know the results yet, but I can remember spending so much time meditating, so I'm just going to stop. Then what happens is, over time, these two things change. As time goes on, the memory of what you did on any specific event decreases, while the results you get from that event increases. So in a year's time, you're not going to remember the exact every detail you wrote on this business plan today, but you're going to be experiencing the results of that by having a successful business, etc., etc. And this is the reason that people don't realize that they are simply an accumulation of all of their past decisions, because they don't remember making those past decisions. They don't recognize that all of the actions they took 5-10 years ago are why they are how they are now. And if it's a positive state of mind now, it's because of positive actions in the past. And if it's a negative state of mind now, it's because of negative actions in the past. And this is why the concept of time is so important in our own personal development. Now remember that point. I'm going to come back to it in just a second, and it's all going to link up. But we all know of the importance of self-awareness. We all know that we should be aware of the problems that we have. One of the problems I've been having is I'm starting to not view every single view I get on YouTube as a real person. I used to be really good at making the connection that for 100 views, that's 100 people. As the channel's grown, I've started to lost sight of that, but it's something I'm working on. And whilst it is really beneficial to be self-aware of the problems we're having, it's almost more valuable, debatedly more valuable, to be self-aware of the problems of the human species in general and of the human brain in general. So one of the problems of the human brain is that we forget a lot. We have a poor memory, like I've just been talking about. You see, we can barely remember what we did yesterday, let alone what we did a year ago. And although this has its benefits, it can definitely get us in a lot of trouble. And the story goes that Steve Jobs was reading a book. And in the book, they were talking about this science experiment. And the science experiment was figuring out how much energy it took for different things to travel a mile. So it included how much energy expended did a kangaroo take to travel a mile. And then how much energy did it take for a human to walk a mile? And then finally, how much energy did it take for a human to travel a mile if he was on a bicycle? And as Steve Jobs was reading this book, he was fascinated because a human on a bicycle, it takes 10% as much energy to travel a mile than if a human is walking. By adding in a tool of the bicycle, a human is able to save 90% of his energy to travel a mile. And this got him so interested in providing tools that improve human nature that he said this quote: "For every improvement we can make in the tools we give people, we can improve the ultimate results even more, thanks to this leverage, and that's what gets us so excited." And Thomas Carlyle said this about tools: "Man is a tool-using animal. Without tools, he is nothing. With tools, he is all." And the reason I'm telling you this is because we can use tools to overcome the flaws of the human brain. So in this video and right now, I'm going to share with you a tool and a system that you can use that will help you overcome the problem of forgetting life lessons, so that when you hear something once, you can instantly apply it into your life and reap the benefits instantly, instead of having to wait until you hear it multiple times. And that system and that tool is Notion. Notion's an app that gives you pretty much everything you need to get your life super organized and to be productive. Now, I've personally been using Notion multiple times every single day for over a year. I've referred so many of my friends to Notion that I have like $150 in my account, because you get like $5 when you refer a friend. If you've been on my email list, you've heard me talking about Notion again and again and again, and I even made a video where I featured Notion. Notion is something that I love and I use multiple times every single day. So when they reached out and asked if I wanted to do a sponsored video, of course I jumped at the opportunity. I would literally be making this video whether I was sponsored or not. Actually, that's a bit of a funny one. I probably shouldn't be saying that. If you're watching this from Notion, I appreciate your sponsor. I probably would have done this without the sponsor, but anyway. So what I want you to do is, as I walk through this system, open up a new tab, click the first link in the description, sign up for your free Notion account, and if you're watching this on your phone, go up and get a computer and do that as well, so that you can go through this simultaneously. Once you've created your free account, go ahead and click the second link in the description, which is going to install a pre-built system that I've created that solves this problem, and you'll be able to get it in your own personal Notion. So just through a couple of clicks, you can get the solution to this problem. I'd recommend you go ahead and do that now. So let me jump into my laptop and walk you through this solution. So let's just jump straight into the system. As you can see, this is exactly what you're going to get when you sign up using the first link and then the second link. There are 3 different sections to this: the first one, the second one, and the third section. This bottom section is where I come to multiple times every single day. I use this to plan all of my YouTube videos, and by the way, this is exactly what Thomas Frank does. He also uses Notion to plan his YouTube videos, so I stole that idea from him. But I also use this to track my personal finances, to track my health, to track my gym, to track how many calories I eat, to take notes and all of these different stuff, to plan holidays, to plan YouTube videos, everything I use, and it comes at the bottom of this. So when you get this, there are multiple different things that you can use. You can jump straight in and you can see there's a template for a habit tracker. This way you're going to be more reliable on keeping your habits. There's also something in here that you can use to plan your travel holidays and all of this stuff. There's a load of pre-built templates that you can use to really increase your productivity. but you can also customize all of these things with Notion by coming in, clicking the slash button, and there's loads of different things that you can use. It's all very simple, and I'd highly recommend you use it. But the important part comes from section 1 and section 2, because the thing is, I'm going to be coming to Notion multiple times every single day anyway to use all of this stuff at the bottom. So I may as well make myself scroll past these things, and this is the core system. Include all of the important things that you want to remember, as well as your goals, which I'll get onto in just a second, in a place that you're going to be frequenting to. You're far more likely to actually remind yourself of this regularly if it's somewhere that you're going to be going already. So the two things I have here is, first of all, step 1, meditate on this. Every time I come to here, I read this, the very first thing I read, and it reminds me to kick myself into action and to do these things. I remind myself of my vision, but the most important part for this video is the important things to remember. This is where I come, and if I learn important life lessons, I come and I write them in here, which means multiple times every single day I'm reminding myself of these huge, valuable, important things to remember. I'm drilling it into my brain again and again and again and again and again. The second section here is I have an overview of all of my different goals, so I know what project I'm in, and I know what I should be doing roughly every single month and what I've got planned forward, so I really start to plan ahead with my life. Then finally, once I've got an overview of my next few months, then I come and I zoom into today, and I've got a link to my Google Calendar where I come and I just break my monthly goal all the way down to the hour by hour. The point being, by implementing this system in your life, you will find yourself remembering these important things because you'll be reading them again and again and again and again and again. You'll be literally scrolling past them again and again and again. And the more you remind yourself of these things, the more likelihood there is for you to really, really encapsulate them. So this is the system, and it really does work. I've been using it for over a year. I've shared it with all of the people in my procrastination program, and hundreds of them have been using it as well. It really does work, and this is the best system that I've found. As simple as it is, it does the job perfectly. Humans are designed to conserve energy. You don't just see humans walking around in circles for 6 hours. We just don't do that kind of thing. So if you write goals or you write these important life lessons down and you think you're going to go back to it and learn them, you're not. The way that we learn is through repetition. Just like when you train a dog, if you want to make something part of your identity, you've got to repeat it yourself again and again and again and again and again. So if you want to learn these important life lessons or epiphanies or experiences that you've gone through, the only way you can do that is through multiple repetitions of that thing. If you train a dog, you get him to sit, you give him a treat. You get him to sit, you give him a treat again and again and again. It's that repetition that trains it. And because our subconscious brain is so much like an animal's, if you want to train it to just take this advice and put it into its identity, you have to do that through repetition. But the problem is, when we hear these important things, we hear them once. That's not enough for our brain to learn it. So what we need to do is drill it into our brain by reading it multiple times. But the problem is we write it in our journal, we take notes on whatever it is we're learning, and we have this epiphany. There's no real method to get it repeated into your brain multiple times. The solution that I've just presented you allows you to go through that thing multiple times every day because you'll be going there anyway. Richard Thaler, who is the author of a book called Nudge, said this: people have a strong tendency to go along with the status quo or the default option. So what we're doing here is we're reminding you of this important things to remember part of your status quo, and we're also lumping in a morning routine and important things you should be doing every day in one, so that your brain doesn't have to remember all of these things. It just goes to Notion and it follows the steps. So if you haven't already, go and click the first link in the description, sign up for a Notion account. If you're a student or a teacher, it's completely free. Anyone else, you can get started for free, and after a while it'll only be like $4 a month. I'd highly recommend it. And if you've enjoyed this video, make sure you click the like button, and I'll see you in the next one.